What's going on, everybody? So today we have the official patch notes. I already released a video talking about the server merges and how there's some really good stuff coming to that, and the ability to group up and some potential negatives here depending on what they do afterwards, because of course that's kind of where we're at this point. But today we have arguably, I would personally say, the absolute best quality of life update, and we'll get to it because it's later on in the video. So let's just talk about all this, starting off with kind of the, preamble or whatever. Since we last gathered for our Diablo Immortal content update, many players have seen Sanctuary anew through character transfer, climbed the ranks of the Season 6 Battle Pass, and gotten the 36 new legendary items. Then we have some feature updates and the server merge going to affect the game coming up here on November 8th or November 9th PST at midnight, basically. So tonight at midnight, we're going to get this maintenance started, and it's going to be in effect tomorrow whenever you log in for the first time. So first off, we have server merges. This is going to be something that we've talked about a ton, and this basically has a full list of the servers that are merging. Pretty simple. After that, there's a bunch of things that you have to keep in mind. First off, you're going to share a population, and no characters are going to be deleted, but you're going to log into the same server. If your server contains duplicate names, a random number will be added to the end of each identical name, and a free name change will be provided, which means it's a race to whoever gets that name. Battle Pass progress will be shared across the merged servers. Character will retain all of their items. Friends list remain in the same clan, in the same warband, and your battleground score and rank will be retained. All Deeds of Valor badges will be retained. This is important because I was concerned about this based on the character transfers to see what would happen with the Deeds of Valor, because by logic, right, all of the people that lost their badges, their justification was, hey, well, actually, you don't get to keep your badges because what you did on that server doesn't apply to this server. But by that same logic, we are now in a different server. It's just a merge of servers. So I was figuring, okay, well, if they're going to follow the same logic, then we might lose our Deeds of Valor. But they're not doing that because that would be an absolute firestorm. After that, we have server first achievements for challengers will be retained. Leaderboards will be re-ranked. Grand market transactions will be retained on the merged server. The recommended price of all items in the market will become the average of the merged servers. So whatever servers you guys are on, whenever you merges, maybe you have another server that has higher prices than yours, or if you have a server that's lower prices than yours, then you're going to want to go ahead and figure that out, purchase some stuff beforehand, or maybe after. Mortal with the highest dominance among the merged servers will become the new immortal. All other mortals will be reverted to adventurers and receive compensation befitting their previous station. And previous immortal reigns will be retained on the Wall of Honor. Shadows and adventurers will retain their progress, and Shadow, War, and Rite of Exile will be paused until server time XXX to give players time to adjust. I mentioned that Rite of Exile will be paused. No one believed me. They said Shadow War will be paused, and I said, well, you can't do Rite of Exile without Shadow War, and it's on the same kind of note of like that grouping activity, so they're probably going to stop it for X time. And guess what? That's exactly what happened, which is actually a little unfortunate because they're going to be able to continue progressing as Shadows, and because of all the new players, I imagine Shadows are going to progress much faster. So the Rite of Exile, we're not going to be able to do it as much because, well, it's going to make it so that you only need about 3 wins as Shadows to become or overthrow the Immortals, which is very easy to do. So that's all happening. And then we also have the limited time event, another simple limited time event with another Telluric Pearl. I think this is the first one with Telluric Pearls, if I'm not mistaken. So 1 Telluric Pearl, 1 Legendary Crest. Cool. Let me ask you all this. Is a Telluric Pearl better than getting a Legendary Crest? I'm not sure, because usually these might actually have 2 Legendary Crests in them, and this is taking away one of those. This is a 2-week event for 1 Legendary Crest, 1 Telluric Pearl. I'm not sure about that, but I guess. We also have like some sort of unspeakable depth cosmetic, which is like basically an ocean vibe where I don't know, you got some sort of Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones type thing going on here. Pretty cool, honestly. I actually like the cosmetics, so that's a fun one. I actually like the Demon Hunter the best, I think. Maybe what is this? Is this the Barb? No, this is the Barb. So this has got to be the Monk. Monk kind of looks cool. I don't know. Crusader kind of looks like a witch hunter. So it is what it is. Looks like some feature updates, daily activities, time change. So looks like they're changing the activities. This is going to be good for a lot of people, at least for the assembly and for the invasion, a lot of people were messed up. For those of you that were saying, oh, well, if you change it, it'll mess some other people up, you change it based on the region. You don't change it based on the exception. You change it based on the rule. And the rule is that people chose their servers for their specific time zone because that is why they chose that server, right? Choose US West, or some people in US East chose US West because, well, they're 3 hours ahead and maybe they can't show up at exactly 7 or 8 o'clock, and maybe 11 o'clock is better for them. So they chose the servers based on their time zone or whatever works best for them, and then changing it up by an hour because of daylight savings, which is a kind of dumb concept in general. But regardless, they're changing assembly and they're changing Wrathborn Invasion because this is going to have 2 times per day, and this is going to basically push it back an hour. So cool. I like that. And here comes the most important thing in this entire update at the end here. And we have to talk about this a little bit. So this is the absolute coolest thing they've added in the game so far in terms of quality of life. You can now craft specific set items in Charcy's Forge in Westmarch using a new resource, Fabled Wisp. These can be acquired by salvaging set items. Huge. The only thing is, we didn't know how it's implemented, right? And just to read this developer's note real quick, we have been listening to a deluge of feedback regarding players having a hard time finding specific set items. It is our belief that adding the ability to craft specific set items will provide a path for players to reliably complete their sets. So there's so many good things with this. One, it makes it so that every set item you get is worth something, which is a big, big deal, because otherwise you feel like it's worthless to farm dungeons, right? You could be like myself, farm 800 dungeons and get 3 set items that you actually want to use, and everything else does not matter. In this case, it does matter because it's progressing you towards a specific craft of a set item. The second thing is this is going to be a huge, huge deal for actually improving your own set items, because if you get a set item, I imagine it's going to randomly roll, similar to gambling. It could be an exceptional. It could not be when you craft it. Therefore, if you keep crafting it, you can actually get higher chances of potentially getting triple stats, which is actually a really nice feature as well. Now, there's one caveat to this whole thing. We need to know how many Fabled Wisps you get from salvaging items. I imagine it's going to be 1. And we need to know how many Fabled Wisps you need to use to craft a set item. For example, if it's 50 Fabled Wisps, that's going to be a lot worse than it potentially could be. However, it's still better than it was before. So this is all gravy. This is all gravy. I love this. This is an amazing change. Even if it's 50 or 100 Fabled Wisps, it is what it is. You can farm that in a couple days, and at least you get one step closer to your set item. I really wish this is going to be around the 10 Fabled Wisps, 5 to 10. I think that would be a nice balance. If you're getting 5 set items and you can craft a specific one, or 10 set items, you can craft a specific one, I'd be okay with that. I think that's reasonable. I think anything after that starts to become like, okay, well, it's a lot of set items to grind. But again, even if it's 15, if it's 20, it's still better, which encourages me to farm dungeons more. So actually, again, an amazing, amazing change here. But it's not only that one. There's actually a few other changes here that, well, you can find out in this Legendary Gems tab here. There are 2 new types of gem fragments, bound and unbound. So what this basically means is that you can upgrade a gem and sell the upgraded gem on the market. That is absurd. That is absurd. And you also have to make sure that the legendary gem has never been equipped to your character and must have been previously upgraded using unbound gems or unbound gem fragments only, and must be rank 5 or lower. So you can only go up to rank 5, but you can sell rank 5 unbound gems on the market or on the auction house. I think this is important for a little bit of reviving of the marketplace, which is a cool idea. But I'm not sure how much this actually affects anything. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. I think it would probably just be a good thing. I don't think there's anything negative about this. Just off the top of my head, having the ability to go ahead and have unbound gems being sold on the market if you wanted to upgrade it, I guess, cool. You might be able to finagle the market a little bit. I don't know. This is kind of like a whale territory change here. So I'm not sure how to rate this one, but I think it's fine. Next up, Castle Cirengar. There's a blacksmith and identifier. Awesome. Love this. You have to run around the Warband castle a lot, and having a blacksmith identifier there is nice. And lastly, Khan's Ordeal. We've found that Khan's Ordeal is quite a challenge. To alleviate organizational duties from the Immortal leader, we have added a few quality of life updates to this feature. A new management UI that displays the Paragon level, combat rating and contribution score, the ability to set combat rating and contribution score requirements, a waitlist feature, and an improved difficulty section UI with clear descriptions for each tier. Cool. Not sure if that really changes anything. Khan's Ordeal is pretty easy in terms of how difficult the content is. So overall, this seems like a very, very small update at large, right? There's just a bunch of quality of life. Server merges is a nice quality of life feature. You're getting, a bunch of people in your server, which is always a good thing. But again, I feel like a lot of people are, I don't know, there just seems to be a lot of people kind of blindsided by server merges. Guys, this isn't necessarily a fix for anything in terms of the long-term health of the game, which is always what I'm looking for, right? I'm always looking at the long-term health of the game, and this is a short-term fix. Now, what is a long-term fix, which is absolutely amazing, they did it at the perfect time. So if this was just what was added into this update, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad they have it. I hope the next update is going to be something that actually improves the game a lot. And guess what? They've actually done it ahead of schedule in the set items. The combination between server merges and crafting set items is an absolutely amazing combination, because now you have players to run dungeons with you, and now you have players that want to run dungeons because they've improved the set items. And this is exactly what I was talking about. And of course, people will try to, I guess, basically cast me out because I'm just trying to make the game better. Of course, it is what it is, what you get for content creating. Everyone's just gonna yell at you one way or the other. But regardless, I'm glad I mentioned it, whether or not it was actually conducive to me making a change in the game. Them adding server merges and set item crafting is literally what I said needs to happen. I said, in order for you to make a successful server merge, you need to actually fix the quality of life things in the game that we've talked about and some problems that we pointed out. One of such problems was the fact that set item grinding is an absolute chore. This fixes a lot of that, hopefully, at a really good pace, depending on how much you need to craft these set items. So I don't want to understate this, guys. This is an absolutely amazing change, along with the server merge. So both of it in combination is an amazing. There's also, of course, a couple other ones like the event, the cosmetic, some bug fixes, which actually, let's just check these out real quick, see if there's any new bug fixes. November 1st. Nope, so no new bug fixes. It's just going to be the things that we talked about in this video. Regardless, let me know what you think about the set item changes. I think that's really the only thing left to talk about, because everything else is kind of known, right? We already knew that we were going to get the server merges. The unbound gems versus bound gems, I don't think is a big change for the most part. Most people aren't going to be buying, multi-hundreds of thousands of platinum worth of gems on the market because they're upgraded. So I don't think that's really a average player mechanic. It's going to be a whale mechanic. And outside of that, there's just the set items, and I guess the new cosmetic and the new event, but the new event's basically the same event. So there's two things. What do you think about the Telluric Pearls in the event? Would you rather have Legendary Crest? And what do you think about the set items? I love it. I think it's a great change, and I'm really happy. And I might consider running a bunch of dungeons now, even though I was kind of completely over dungeons after farming literally 800 dungeons on my barb and not getting a full Vithus piece. Pretty unfortunate. So again, let me know what you think. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and sub to the channel if you want to see more, and I will see you all tomorrow.